Hey everybody, welcome back. And I think my mic is working. I can see the levels up there. I'm going to wait till I get the thing here in 10 seconds. But happy October. We are in the kind of seasonal moment on this whole year. I always like to do some themed stuff, especially around this time of year. And it sounds like my audio is great. But yeah, hello everybody. How you guys doing? It's been a couple weeks. I've been doing a lot of traveling myself. I had my film premiere into the Nashville Film Festival, and that came out 2 weeks ago. And so I was there that weekend. And then the following weekend, I was in the Chicago Horror Film Festival. So I was in Chicago for that weekend. And so now we are back. We are back. And I'm excited. I think today's going to be a good day. We're working on a Beetlejuice render, kind of like a miniature of, like how they have the little town in the beginning of the film. Well, it's throughout the whole two movies now of the stuff. But hey, Hasselhoff, how you doing? Oh, Kaisido, welcome in, welcome in. I'm excited. Today is a good day. We are getting into this render. I'm excited. It's been a minute since we've done a Blender render. So today is going to be awesome. I mean, last time we were just working on CG shots, but now we're just going full on animation again. I've got my water. I've got my brain. And yeah, let's see. I'm going to pull up the photo as well. But how are you guys doing? How have your guys' couple weeks been? We've had like 2 weeks off now, and the schedule's going to be kind of weird because I'm doing this render this week and next week, and then I'm hoping to finish it up by next week. And then I'll be taking 2 weeks off again because I'm going on a vacation to New Zealand. So if any of you guys are in New Zealand, make sure to send me a message on Discord. Love to meet up with you guys. I think my lighting looks fine. I realize I actually don't have my light on over there, but I think everything looks great. Let's see. Let's pull up this photo now. Stop getting distracted. Okay. Let's see. Got to open this up. But yeah, I wanted to do like kind of like a miniature looking photo today. So that's kind of primarily what sparked the idea. I go on to IMDb like every week or Letterboxd, and I try to find what's trending, and I'm like, okay, I think Beetlejuice is trending right now. Let's try to do something in that. And I've been wanting to do a miniature style render for a minute, especially since last year I did a train for my photo, and I thought that looked really awesome. And now I want to go back with the things that we've learned since then and kind of apply that to our own photo. Currently have a hangover, but it was worth it. Aren't they always? Aren't they always? I can't do hangovers, man. Actually, to be honest, I really have never had one. Honestly, I mean, I don't think I've really. You know what? The one time Ben and I went to NAB together, I had a little bit of a hangover the next day. So I take that back. I guess I did have a bit of a hangover then. Okay, so this is the render that we are going to be working on today. Whoops, wrong screen. That's fine. Put this over here. This is the render that we'll be working on today. It's a nice little. I'm not partying enough. No, I don't I'm not a partier. That's not really what I do. I get stuck inside too often. But yeah, this is the render right here. I found this photo online from, I believe, it's a marketing photo or something like that for the movie. And I thought it would be fun to I extended it just using Photoshop's generative extension AI thingy that it's got, which is kind of crazy. And I figured this would be a cool little reference photo for what we're trying to create today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right on into Blender, and we can go ahead and get started. Obviously, we got to import our settings here, so we'll just run through that real quick. Let's see. Let's select the camera. By the way, I found out something, and I don't know why it took me so good. All good, not as good as Hasselhoff, but posted in Discord my latest 3D work. Yes, dude, that's amazing. I've been checking out a couple of the renders that have been placed this last week, and I'm very impressed with all of your guys' work. Let's load this real quick. There we go. That's the photo. I think, though, I want to check what the actual resolution is because I don't think this is... Is this straight up 1920 by 1080? No, it's not. 1349 by 748. Okay. I don't know what resolution that is, but you know what? That's what we're doing today. Here's another cool thing I found in Blender, though. I always wondered why the background images, if you set the opacity to 100%, the color management wasn't quite perfect inside of this. You can see this right above my head right here. The view as render checkbox here, if you check this, it'll actually do proper color management. I don't know why. Apply render part. Like, I don't know why anyone would not want this checked. That's my curiosity. I actually don't know why. But I always would import a plane and put it behind it because I knew that color management would be correct that way and the photo looked correct that way, but not with the background image, with this view as rendered thing unchecked. At least I knew it wasn't with this background images. Now I know that there's this view as render button here, and then obviously select the correct color space that your photo is in. I don't know why someone would want this unchecked. If any of you guys know that, let me know in the chat. I would be very curious as to see what the reasoning behind that would be. But you know what? I'm sure people have their reasons. I like to see things properly at any point that I'm looking at it because, that's, just me, I suppose. I'm going to, I don't like to do that, but if we go over into our view settings over here, I like to turn off like all of the extra stuff so that way we don't boggled down by a bunch of things that are not going to be in the render. We only want to see what we're creating. And let's go ahead and delete our default cube, and we're just going to start by adding in a plane. I usually like to do this to set up our camera settings and set the orientation of the camera. Since we're only using this as a reference image and not as like a perfect, we're trying to recreate this image exactly, we don't need to use anything like, I think it's FSpy. There's some plugins out there that allow you to automatically set up your stuff. I'm not doing that, but you guys can do what I'm going to delete this light for right now, and let's go ahead and create a new collection here called Layout. And we'll just drop the plane under layout. And I'm going to change this collection to camera. And all of our camera associated things will get placed under there. As for the camera itself, I think that having it set to 50 millimeters is probably okay. So now that I'm thinking about it, you're probably not going to want the millimeters to be too large, especially if your focal length should be not too large, especially if it's a miniature. So we might set this to like 22 or 25 or something like that. Next up, let's go ahead and just drop this camera kind of in the front view here, and we'll find the orientation in which we want this at. Now, I like to use this grid as a means of being able to see how the lines are kind of lining up, as well as our plane. Now, we don't have a flat surface. This is a mountain, so it's not exactly like we're going to be able to get the plane to line up with any surface inside of our photo here. But what we can do is rotate around on the 3D cursor here, and as long as I grab my camera now and rotate, we should be able to find the correct orientation this way. You have a 90 millimeter macro lens. I don't know what the settings would be to put it as a macro lens. Not done that before. And then we'll find the general orientation of how we feel like this environment is. I believe this camera perspective is about correct. And you know what? I might be, yeah, about 24 to 40 though. I think a good, you know what? I could go 24. I was thinking a little bit smaller than that, like kind of like a pancake lens, but pish posh. Let's see, let's just align this real quick. And now, as you can kind of see, generally speaking, the grid is lined up in a nice way where it feels like the orientation is correct. And now when we start to add things in, it's a little bit easier for us because the 90-degree angles are already going to be there. Now, as with a lot of Tim Burton-y kind of things, there's not a lot of straight lines as much as there is a lot of character inside of the renders. I think macro lens just means how close the minimum focal plane is. Oh, interesting. So like the clipping, essentially. Oh, no, your focal. Oh, I see what you're saying. Gotcha. So in the depth of field. Sorry, not the clipping. That's something completely different. Okay. Great. Now this works for me. I now have this plane here. What we can do also is just use this as our general kind of ground that we want to have. And by that, I would say let's just extrude it downwards and then scale it out. Maybe upwards a little bit. Extrude out, scale that out. There you go. Let's grab these outside edges. Whoops. Let's grab all of the outside edges here. And basically right now, we're not going to try to get it too close. We're just going to, well, can I not grab all 4 vertices through Alt-click? I'm just going to extrude it downwards and then outwards. We could probably use the anthill if you wanted to. For me anyways, I am just going to kind of line this up like this way. By the way, the BTS you shared is really cool. Oh, thank you. Yes, that was a fun project to have been able to do. They gave me permission to show a little bit of the behind the scenes on how all that stuff worked, and I asked to interview the director, and no, it was a great project. I'm really glad they let me do it, because I feel like a lot of times VFX doesn't get to really showcase some of the stuff that they're doing, and this was pretty cool that they allowed me to do that. Okay, now I got this really weird pan-shaped thing. I was going to take this now, and then let's go ahead and add in a multi-resolution. Hey, Lex, welcome into the chat. Can't wait for this one. Me neither, man. Me neither. But now that we have this, I just added a multi-res into here, and then if we swap this over to sculpt mode, we can actually start sculpting some of the areas to fit a little bit better. I like to use the grab tool in order to do that, just like an elastic deform or the grab tool. I think if you use the elastic deform, it's a little bit bigger, and it's nice because it actually shifts everything. And then we're just going to kind of create some of the ridges here. And then later we're going to procedurally go in and create kind of the rest of the landscape. But this is, just a way of being able to create a little bit of landscaping this way. Kind of following our reference video a little bit, just for some good ideas on how we want this to all to look. I think we should have a little bit of a path that leads up to this. And then now, if we go over here, we could actually just smooth out some of this. We don't need to have too much, especially like these lines. We want to get rid of those. This is all from our, cube earlier. Just going to smooth out some of this, and then we'll add those little hills back into this. Then go back over to our elastic deform. Just added a little bit of hillsides into it. But the only other new thing with me is I'm on this like crazy diet right now. I'm only eating like 500 calories a day, which is kind of insane. It's mostly just fish and salad and lettuce, but I'm trying to lose some weight before I go on this like little vacation that I'm doing, which I know I should have been doing, throughout the year. But I've been bad. Okay. So here I am, just living the dream, eating beans and salad. That's it. beans and salad. We do a little bit of that. Let's go ahead and hit subdivide now. And then if we use the draw tool on here, actually going to minimize this. And let's just keep this window open here so that way we could see everything just as a reference. And I'm going to go to camera view. If we go to draw now, we can draw in some of these extra divots and things like that. But honestly, as far as diets go, this hasn't been bad. I know 500 calories doesn't sound like a lot of calories, because it's not. But in the end of the day, I'm like not like, you know, starving. I'm eating just fine. It's just I'm only eating kind of healthier foods, if that makes sense. Okay, let's smooth out some of that. I still don't know how we're going to add in like this little grass. I have some ideas with some GeoNodes setups. But we'll see. When we get to it, we'll see. Okay. I think we want some oopsies. Let's go ahead and subdivide again. And then make that pretty small. And we're just going to make... But one of the things we're doing over... Yeah, that's like 2 beers. Actually, I think that's like 1. I think that's like 1 beer, man. No, I've had to completely stop drinking. I can't drink anything at all right now. Ayo, thank you Lex for the $5. Hell yeah, dude. First super on a live stream. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Alexander. Give it to my brother to be the most supportive person on the channel. Let's go. Hell yeah, dude. Thank you so much. Now do it again. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, you can't drink any alcohol with this kind of like a diet. This is like absolutely insane. Why didn't you write a message with your thing, Alex? Like you could have said something like, be like, hey, here's a topic I want you to talk about for the next like 15 minutes. Or does it not let you do that? I hope it does. By the way, did my little GIF image thing pop up on the... I missed it. Did it pop up on the stream? Like, I created like this little Streamlabs GIF, and I hope it popped up. I haven't actually tested it. I think it should work, right? Just adding some different deformation here into the ground. But thank you, Alex. I appreciate that. Honestly, with this, I just like scribble and it kind of works. You don't believe so? Okay, I'll have to fix that. I did make one. There's the sticker that chat's not sure if you need to do a chat. There's the stickers and chats. Not sure if you need to do a chat. Okay. But yeah, like my method of creating like just realistic looking ground is literally just scribbling. Testing? Okay, wait a second. It did. Haha. IMV tipped $5 through a super chat. There we go. It popped up in the center of the little thing. That's awesome. I'll Venmo you back, Veeth. Testing. Couldn't have said something more than just testing. Yeah, my method though of doing this is just scribbling basically, and then later we'll be using distribution of points to basically put up the like a little like dots and stuff like that all over the thing. You'll request. Good luck getting that back though, buddy. I think though we're gonna need this like mountains back here. A easy way of doing that. Let's just go back over here into object mode real quick again. I'm gonna set this to 4 just so we can see what we did. I'm gonna move this cursor way over there just for now, And if we go ahead and add in under mesh, we add in a landscape. And if you guys don't have this landscape option, all you have to do is go into edit preferences and then search for a.n.t and then make sure that ant landscape is enabled. Then we could go ahead and, you know, scale that upwards or whatever. We'll just move that all the way back there. But now we've got ourselves a landscape. I want to make sure our camera, though, isn't clipping. I was talking a little bit about this earlier. If you change this end clipping here to 1,000. Okay, where's our landscape? I don't know where our landscape is. I think that's part of the problem. Is it further than 1,000? Let's say view, set this to 10,000. There we go. And then set the camera to 10,000. Doesn't help. I don't know where it is. Oh, there it is. It's so far away, it's hard to move. Scale this guy up, but we'll scale him up on individual origins. There we go. Cool. I think that one works. I'm just going to duplicate this now, and then we'll just rotate this around this direction. Okay. Hell yeah. Okay, that works pretty nice for the landscape back there. I still think this looks a little big, and we can use even displacement maps and things like that to make it feel smaller. So let's do that first by using a multi-res. I'm going to subdivide this a few times. Subdivide it like 3 times there. And then if we use a displacement map, so we'll displace it. We'll hit new to make sure it's a new texture. And make sure that this is after your multi-res, so that way you're subdividing first. And then under your texture settings here, it's currently set to image or movie, which is pretty cool. Like, you can import your own displacements if you want to. But for us, we could just swap this over to clouds, you know, something that's going to be procedural inside of our actual Blender project here. And then all we have to do is just change our size. And then if we go over and change our strength as well, we're basically going to want to make this really small. So 0.01 maybe. And with our size here, that just makes it really big. We'll just maximize the tininess of it, like to 8.0 whatever that is. Now you can see that we get all of this extra detail here. Now we can blow out our machine by just hitting subdivide a couple times just to make sure that this looks, you know, nice and clean. Make sure it says shade smooth. And then I like to, if you want to, add in a subdivide surface after your displacement. And this will smooth everything over really nicely. It also frees your computer and maybe blow it up in the process. But, you know, that is just a risk that we are all willing to take here. Oh, I can go in and like these. Okay, I can't like yours, Alexander, but I can like Veeth's. That's cool. You can even reply to them. That's... Wait, so if I reply? The time to reply to the super chat has expired. What? Oh, that's a bummer. I missed it. But you could apparently reply to these also in chat. Okay, so after you add that subdivide over top of your displacement, it creates this really nice landscape that we can have. I think that's cool. For us, this isn't really what I want. It's because you didn't say anything on it. That's probably true. There's nothing to reply about other than thank you, which I would say thank you, you know. But so this subdivision will now make it pretty nice. I will say I think that from our camera perspective, this is pretty nice. But we might want Actually, that's really good. Let's go ahead and turn off the viewport of that. I'm going to set that to 1 as well. We're going to turn off the viewport of both of these. We don't need to see that inside of our viewport. But with this now, go ahead and select this guy and then shift select this guy and press Control C. And we might be able to copy the modifiers. So now if we go over to here, it has the exact same modifiers as this guy. Control C, by the way, is another handy little preference that you need to go enable. I think it's called, copy attributes menu up here inside of preferences. Just make sure that's enabled. So that way when you press Control C, it does this. I believe Control C by default does something else. So if that does not work for you, just go into your preferences and then change that. I find it very useful for copying locations, rotations, and scales, and like all transforms, modifiers, and really anything that you're kind of doing. Now, using modifiers back here with procedural textures works really nicely for things that are far away, stuff that we're not really paying that close attention to. I do personally believe that when you're doing landscapes, that the parts that are closest to the camera, that you want those to kind of be more hand sculpted, because the problem with something that's procedural is you can really tell that it's procedural. It's just, you know, it kind of has this pattern to it that I feel like we kind of detect really easily. And that is something that I don't really like. So in order to avoid that, I prefer to sculpt these things. So just like we were doing earlier, we'll just swap over to sculpt mode now. And I'm just using the draw brush and just kind of like drawing downwards. Now, right now, all of my, it has the plus button, but that's because I extruded my plane downwards, and that's the reason why everything's inverted. If I wanted to flip this, I can. I just have to go into edit mode. For right now, I'm fine with having it backwards. I think let's go ahead and then just turn this strength down, and then we're just going to go ahead and adjust some of this. A little bit more strength than that. Just kind of creating some of these wrinkles, because again, this is a miniature, so if you really think about it, this is kind of like a rug. It shouldn't be perfect. Love me a good miniature, though. And honestly, like, I think I want to do a short film at some point where I do CG stuff that looks like miniatures. I would do real miniatures, too. It's just, I can do CG, so why would I not, you know? Why would I not try to make something look like that and just do it that way? It's cheaper, easier, and faster for me to do it this way. I'm going to get a lot of hate for that, aren't I? Yeah, that was something interesting. I've been to a few festivals now, and sometimes you'll just talk to people that really just hate VFX. And it's annoying because they only say that because you just said you did it. And that's a nice, cool way of ending a conversation abruptly. I'll say that. They always go, oh, practical effects is so much better. And I mean, I think I agree to a certain extent. I agree that, you know, I think that it's a mixture of both. If you can really mix practical effects and visual effects together, I think it looks the best. If I were to shoot another, you know, monster werewolf film like I did, you know, this last year, I wouldn't do full CG werewolves. I would do practical werewolves that with like, you know, a full costume outfit created, and then adding CG on top of it. I hate the thing that makes movies look cool. What a normie take. I think it's a normie take, but I also think it's kind of like one of those like cinephile bros thing to say when you're just like, oh yeah, I like how they used to do it back in the day. I think that's kind of a take that I have run into anyways quite a bit. I also don't understand the concept of hating just like a whole method of how something is done. You can't say that you hate, you know, all of visual effects, because that's kind of like a weird, whoa, hello, just bugged out there for a second. I believe that you should say, like, I don't think you should walk into something saying, oh yeah, we're going to try to do this, practical because I think practical is better. I think you should be like, oh, I'm trying to tell this story. What's the best way for me to do it as a storyteller? But I've run into quite a bit of people at these different places that seem to just be like, oh no, I think it's so much better to do it this way. Even though I don't know how to do it practical, I only would ever do it practical. I find that kind of a strange, like, thing to argue against, because it's like, okay, like, so you don't know how to do it either way, but gotcha. Just YouTube has changed your opinion, basically. And I get it. I'm a little closer to the subject because it's actually like my day job and stuff like that to do visual effects. So I do feel slightly, taken back whenever people say things like that, but I shouldn't. Just let it go. And to me, anyways, I worked on this horror film once where they had a devil in it that was like a full practical effect of a dude inside of stilts and like all of that. And it looked freaking amazing. And then they did VFX on top of it that really like they made the eyes glowing and like all of these things that sure you can do in practical, but it wouldn't have looked as good. They just amped it up and it looked so much better. And I just think that, like, if you do a mixture of both, that's just the best way to telling a story, is by trying to do both. And they did that in I didn't like the Jurassic World movie, that just the last one that came out, but they had both practical as well as real, like visual effects. Like, they did both and it was flawless. Like, I think it was gorgeous effects. Like, probably the best dinosaurs that we have seen on screen. Well, I take that back. Other than that Apple TV show that came out where they were doing the CG dinosaurs, that was kind of crazy. VFX can be something as small as removing wrinkles from someone's face. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've done that. Or making John Hamm look like he's skinny. Yeah. No, visual effects can be really anything. And I think that's what's interesting, is when people just get on the CG hate train and then they don't even think about, how many invisible VFX there are. They just talk about the stuff that they've seen. And I get it. Some of the stuff that they talk about that they've seen is, not super great. And I'm not going to argue with anyone about that. Like, that's true. But, have a little bit of an open mind. Just going to now make some of these areas a little bit sharper around some of the creases. I think that works really nicely for rocks and things like that. Again, we're going to smooth all of this over with probably a subdivide surface or something like that. They're talking out of their ass because they've never made a great movie. Well, okay. But I mean, I've seen some great directors that have also said it, but they also don't realize how much of their film is actually visual effects. They think that it's all practical, but what often happens is you'll set out and they'll film it practical, right? Like, I think this happened with Top Gun, right? They went out, filmed everything practical, and everybody went, wow, we just did everything practical. We flew planes, we flew jets, like, we actually did the training, we did all the hard work. And they're like, so when they went out on their press thing, they told everyone that. And now, was it a lie that they did it practical? No. But the truth was, it wasn't practical. And they were saying that it was because they thought it was. But I think later it got changed with or without their knowledge. I would imagine it would have been with the director's knowledge and consent, but couldn't tell you. And then what ends up happening is we find out later that it was all replaced with VFX. And that happened with Top Gun. I mean, everyone I think still thinks that was real jets and they were flying over the terrain that close and like all of those things. That wasn't real. I mean, hell, they were up for I think an Oscar for best VFX. I just love it when, they go out and say that, oh, they shot everything for real. And then it comes out, in a few months when the Oscars are happening, and all of a sudden, wait a second, nope, it wasn't real. We actually did do VFX, and now we want an award for it. It's like, so you want an award for lying? Like, I mean, that's what Barbie did. They said everything was just as they did in the 1930s, but then it turned out that they did like literally everything on a green screen. Okay. Do you think you get why like The Room so much? There were 0 visual effects in that movie. Do people like The Room? I thought that was the movie people didn't like. Or are you just being sarcastic? Okay, that looks nice. Just kind of. I like that quite a bit. Whoa, that's big. It's too big. Yes, there is a thing as too big. We found it. Let's see. I think that's good there. Let's take a break from some of this landscape stuff, and then we'll go into working on the house. I mean, I don't know. Should we smooth this out a little bit over here? Smooth it out slightly. By the way, Ben, I've been updating my letterbox again. I feel like I go on a bend of not doing it for a bit, and then all of a sudden later I'm like, oh crap, I gotta go update all my movies that I've watched recently. I watched this great movie last night, by the way. It was a Ridley Scott film called, I believe, The Matchman, I believe was the name of the film. Has Nicolas Cage in it. Where's my... Oh, there's over here. I don't think if you guys haven't seen it, then I'm not going to say anything about it. Go watch it. Great film. I don't want to give anything away in it, so I'm not going to say any more. But really loved it. May watch it again. Probably one of Ridley Scott's better films. And I mean, and that guy made Gladiator, okay? Okay, we're going to have to go in later and then do some more sculpting on this once we actually have the house here, because we need the formation of this ground to kind of fit with where the house is positioned and then how people are walking, right? Because technically speaking, there's going to be like a path here, I believe. With Gina Davis? I didn't know that there was original. It was my first time watching the film, actually. I didn't know about it. I was at a buddy's house and they played it for me. Been watching spooky stuff, and a friend recommended You're Next. Pretty fun movie. Well, I guess tis the season to be watching spooky stuff. I'm going to hit Shade Smooth on this guy. And that's going to get rid of a lot of our problems of the stuff looking a little low res. I believe the film was based on a book, so I wouldn't be surprised, by the way. Oh, enjoy. Welcome into the chat. I just realized you were a different person. But I wouldn't be surprised if there was a movie before it, just because it was based on a book. Okay, starting out with the house, let's just get a cube set up. Beetlejuice. Oh, yes, the original is with Michael Keaton. Yep. Oh, you were talking about Beetlejuice. Gotcha. Well, technically, is it an original or just like the first Beetlejuice, right? because technically this next one was a sequel. Which, okay, guys, has problems. It has problems. I think, yeah, I don't know. What did you guys think about it? I'll go on a rant in a minute about it. But I thought there were some problems with the sequel for sure. Let's see. I'm gonna just take this and we'll scale it down for a second. We just need to line this up with the house here, kind of just like the platform of the house. Since it's a miniature, you know, things aren't exactly going to line up. We'll just line that up all the way to there. My personal opinion is that this film was a little overhyped. Just a little bit. Yeah, but they messed up with the Ghostbusters. Oh, you guys are all chatting. Just chatting. It was a great sequel. Obviously, the original was better. The only problem I had with his subplot with his ex-wife. Okay. Nah, dude, there were so many more problems than that. There were so many more problems. For instance, there were way too many villains. Way too many villains, okay? Like, who was the villain of the film? Like, they couldn't make up their mind. I just felt like it was just, like, there was so much going on, and so little by the end of the film was necessary. It's like, either make up for the fact that, like, Jenna Ortega's boyfriend is the bad guy. The mom's boyfriend is the bad manager guy is the bad guy. Beetlejuice is the bad guy, or Beetlejuice's ex-wife is the bad guy, or the cop who's chasing everyone down is a bad guy, or somewhat not good guy, but not bad guy, but just a problem. There were a lot of like bad guys, and there was a lot of storylines. I think that's the thing is there's just too many storylines in my opinion. I just thought it was too much, man. Too much. Okay, let's just grab this guy, extrude it, scale it out. I think to compare it to the original is a disservice. Especially since the original was just so good. Villain was the undead. Okay, so then the villain dies 3/4 of the way through the movie, right? Is that the case then? If the villain's the kid, the guy, well then he dies before the big finale fight scene. No, Willem Dafoe was definitely not a villain, but you could argue that he was at least like an anti-hero of some kind to the character's motives that were going on. Like what they were trying to accomplish, he was definitely not a hero. Being a good guy in these make you a bad guy anyways. Soon our heroes are Mike Myers, Voorhees, and okay. I don't know about our heroes. Okay. Let's see what this ledge looks like here. Just extrude that outwards again a little bit and pop that up. So this is like a platform for this thing. So I guess we could build the stairs. Those stairs will roughly be in this area right here. I just felt like there were a lot of storylines. There was a lot that needed to happen in order for the film to end. Let's go ahead and duplicate this. Yeah, they're cute. Like Voorhees, like Jason Voorhees. And And Michael Myers, are they cute? Okay, so that's right there. Then we'll have like a little house thingy that's on this corner. I'm going to take this, and if we just duplicate him, I have to grab him on the... Oh, I need to duplicate him first. There we go. Grab him on the x-axis here. Then grab him on the y-axis. This just makes it a little complicated because the whole house is, you know, on a tilt axis. I think this whole thing could probably go further this way. We don't need to see the back of the house, but... So this plane right here, if we just select it now, we can extrude it upwards, and it's like this little add-on part. Right now, I'm just going through and blocking out the different parts of the house as like cubes, and then we can go in and kind of create a lot of the custom details later. Cult films, fun to watch? Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think that's... What constitutes a hero, though, that would be a cult, you know, fan favorite? Is it something that has to be classic, or can we get new villains these days? I've always wondered that, because I'm under the impression that people are very nostalgic and that they're not going to want to have a new hero because they like the old hero or villains, because they have their old villains that they like, you know, from the past. Do that. I think that's good right there. And then we'll have the house continue up from there. So I came in later. Are you making a Beetlejuice house? And later on the interior of the characters? Nope. Just basically the Beetlejuice house render right now. This is kind of like the ideal photo that we're going for here. I guess we'll be making this snake tail as far as the character is concerned. But for the most part, we're just making the Beetlejuice house. Scale that in a little bit, and then we can extrude it upwards. Actually, we'll probably scale it in a little bit more. Was the hero of your grandparents, now kids, no clue what a Western even is? Are Westerns dead? I guess that's a good question. I was debating with my buddies last night about, actually. Funny enough. I don't think Westerns are dead. I think, like, cliche films are. So if you're, you know... I think you could still have a Western hero. Oh, that's pretty good right there. I think it's interesting, though, right? Because, like, heroes... What would the next heroes be? I guess it's superheroes, right? Like just literal superheroes will be the next heroes. Well, they already are. I don't even say next. Like, people already love Captain America, Iron Man, you know, Batman. I think Batman's, you know, kind of been a hero for a while for people, though. So I don't know that that's like a new hero that people are just like now in love with. And all of these comic books, I'm not to say that any of them are new by any means. It's just that I think that a lot different. Let's see. I'm going to just grab everything here on the front, and we're going to bring it out. Disable that one. Oh, because I have that on. Gotcha. I think that works. Just got to kind of like hide that seamed edge. Probably going to hide this face here as well. Just a little add-on to the building there. Bone Tomahawk is technically a Western. and was in 2015. Yeah, but do they do well though? I mean, so how well do they do in the box office, right? And I mean, hey, this is coming from a guy. I wrote a Western. I have a Western feature that I am very much looking to try to make one day. Granted, it's not your typical Western. It's a monster werewolf film that I think would be super freaking cool to make into a feature film. But it's a little different. It's interesting because you talk to a lot of people and they'll tell you like, oh yeah, Western's dead. You know, don't try making a Western film. And I would rather not believe that. Scale that out. We're just going to create ourselves this little pizza shape here. Cowboys and Aliens. Isn't that like from 2009? Really good film, by the way. I do think though, but that also, by the way, kind of proves my point. That movie flopped. Unfortunately. That was like my childhood film, dude. Like, I remember when that came out. I was so freaking hyped for it. Such a good movie. Just because it's a different take. And I've always loved Westerns. I mean, I grew up because, you know, grandparents come over, you know, your family's all there. And they all want to watch, you know, movies from their day. Which is like, I watched, you know, like The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. And, you know, what the heck is with these planes here? Let's delete only faces. Need to like clean this up. But I would watch like Good, Bad, the Ugly, Fistful of Dollars, like all the spaghetti westerns. And then, and yeah, I mean, one of my favorite movies of all time is literally Treasure of Sierra Madre. Go check that movie out if you guys haven't already. Freaking amazing film. But that's just like good script writing. What did I do with this? Okay, we're going to Control Z all this crap, guys. I accidentally extruded backwards, and this fricked me up. Oh, can I not? This is going to be amazing. Okay, so I have this guy here. Just lift up the edges here. So bad topology. It's so bad. It's like semi-fixed now. I wouldn't say fixed is the right word to describe this. Yeah, definitely classics. I mean, I would watch like John Wayne. Like you say, that's like my would you say grandparents' generation of heroes? Like, dude, I watched Chuck Norris and you know, I watched all of those. I will say, my hero growing up was MacGyver. It's Tim Burton, so you can make it a bit wonky. Yeah, that's what I'm telling myself here, Ben. I'm going through it. We're just getting through it. I'm just blocking out the rough shapes. Just scale that outwards. Just create a little bit of a lip. Looks like I even screwed that up. I'm going to put that right here. We're just going to have a bit of an angle to it. I just think that's kind of cool, actually, even. That's not necessarily going to line up, but it doesn't matter. I kind of want to extrude that inwards and upwards. How to use F-Spy of the platform, and what do you think of the add-on? I actually did not use F-Spy for this shot, and to be completely honest, I've never really used it, because I feel like you would only use it for something like this. I instead do camera tracks over in Nuke, you guys can do it in After Effects as well and export it from there, or you could do it straight in Blender if you wanted to. And then I usually in Nuke place down cards where different objects are inside of your scene, and with a proper camera track from your scene, and then you import that over into Blender, everything will import automatically as far as like your you know, what your it will import the correct resolution of your footage, but it'll import the correct focal length and depth of field and things like that as well, which is really nice. Spooky houses don't have to be symmetric. Oh, for sure. You're right. I'm playing that hardcore right here. Don't worry. Don't worry. I am definitely taking advantage of that fact. I'm going to take this guy here, and if we just duplicate him over to this section here, I'm going to rotate that by 90 degrees, which is fine. I think we just want that over like that. I don't really want him peeking out. Yeah, I think that's good. Probably take this edge here and that's cool. I like that. Gives it a little bit of style. But yeah, I mean, I don't use F-Spy terribly much. Well, I've never actually used it. Primarily because of that. I haven't needed to. I thought about it when I first started doing these live streams, but then I also was just like, guys, we're not trying to duplicate this photo exactly. We're just using it mostly as a reference. And, you know, that's another aspect of this. Okay, we're going to scale that down. That's so far away, too. And then we'll just go ahead and select this whole bottom here and then just stretch it out to the bottom. I do think it's so funny. The concept of Beetlejuice is just such a simple concept. Oh, whoops. I'll just take that all the way down. Such a simple concept that I think works extremely well. Though, watching the film, I kind of have this opinion that you couldn't make something like this anymore. I don't know. I just feel like cheesy films you can't do because people just say they're bad. I don't know. Is that true? Because I like good cheesy older classics, right? I think that kind of gives it that classic feel to it, is that it's kind of cheesy. And I don't think you can do that anymore. Is just have a fun movie. Although, again, I guess I'll go back to superheroes. Is that the modern day cheesy film is Ant-Man Quantumanium? Is that the modern cheesy film? Is that how you can get away with doing a fun film that's just for the fun of it? I don't know how that style works, but this way we go. I think we have to bring these all the way. Yeah, definitely have to. That one sucked. What, Ant-Man Quantumanium? I just think that it's cheesy, right? I think that's what we don't like about it, right? Am I wrong? To be fair, Civil War was A24's most expensive film and wasn't even close to their best. Well, I'm not talking about expensiveness, really. I'm mostly talking about, I don't know, just good fun. Like, when was the last movie that was like Grown Ups? You know, just a fun movie. I don't know, man. It's what I want to know. Let's get this little platform here. I didn't really want it to be... We're just going to delete that. Oopsies. I'm going to delete the vertices. Yeah, delete the vertices. What does that do for the rest of this? I had this idea for like a little TV show. And I don't know. I might eventually try to just shoot it. It's a pretty simple concept. You know what? I kind of don't even want to say it out loud right now. But I kind of like it. It's kind of good, cheesy fun. Reminds me of like, you know, BEETLEJUICE or any of those old classic kind of like monster things like Ghostbusters. It's kind of a show that feels like a vibe like that. That's what I think would be kind of a fun thing, you know? We get a lot of TV shows these days that are just serious. Like we get House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones, you know, type of thing. It's, you know, the Ozarks and Breaking Bads of our episodic television. And, you know, I think there's a lot of room for good fun. Let's take this. You think it's very complicated to make a simpler, fun movie these days? Is it complicated because I feel like less people would watch it? Is that why it's complicated? I don't know if people want to watch just good fun. I guess that's my point. Is maybe people don't want to watch it. Maybe they do. Maybe we're seeing a turn of the tides. Probably not. That's cool. I like that. I do like that it's just off canter. Go ahead and save. Oh, we haven't been saving. Let's go ahead and save real quick. I shouldn't make a habit of doing this literally first. By the way, if you guys are new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the like button below. Tells YouTube you like the video. Maybe recommend it to someone else that might also like it. You know, we're pretty close to 2,000 subscribers. And really excited. I don't know what I'm going to do when we hit 2,000 subscribers, but we should do something fun. I'm going to make this guy right here. Oops. Let's take him and just extend it outwards a little bit. Just a little bit. That way this platform I can actually have... Or we can literally just duplicate this guy. Just kind of try to have the 90 degrees line up, but at the same time, it's okay if it's a little bit off, because going for that kind of miniature, it was built by hand kind of vibe. And again, with this one, just rotate it ever so slightly. Perfect. Now I just take this around the corner. I just need 2 over here. Like that. Would you guys like to see some more BTS like that one that I posted on my channel last week for the future films that I like work on? Is that something that would interest you guys? I had fun putting it together. But let me know if that's something that interests you. Just take that there, and then we'll just rotate it ever so slightly. Great. So now all of them are just slightly rotated in different directions. And let's see, we have to make the stairs on this back platform here. I guess we'll make the stairs here, and we can just duplicate these stairs to right here. You can't really see it because of the snake, but there is a set of stairs there. Okay, and then as for like this section here, technically, make that go all the way out. Wait, what the heck? Where did our... Did I accidentally move our actual... Whoops. That's hilarious. Rotate Z -90. Accidentally got rid of our little house thing there. Okay, and I kind of want to trim in this cube down here. So let's just select all of the vertices associated with that. Yeah. And if we scale it in, well, this front face is supposed to be like one face. Where is that? I need to select this face, and this face. And if we convert that to vertices, it'll automatically select everything. Fantastic. That's a little hack right there for you guys. Just move that down. Perfect. Now this edge here of this guy, we will move back to there, and then this edge of our front porch, I suppose actually we'll probably want this to come out a little bit further. Yeah, about that far, so that way it's further than that front porch. And then we can grab this face and bring it out a little bit as well. And now, but yeah, I'll see what I can do with trying to get some more of those BTS things made. I think it's beneficial to me, obviously, but also to the film that's coming out, because it's a bit of an advertisement, you know, for them that they wouldn't necessarily otherwise have. And I do all the editing for it, which was cool. I got to practice my Netflix documentary type, you know, style. Okay, we're gonna see if I can create some of these slat things. Like that. Okay. And kind of go to the edge of that one. Looks good to me. How good would an array do at this? terrible, actually. That's what I've just discovered. Let's try to duplicate this and just make a few of these manually. I'm gonna have to... something like that. How does that look? Then I guess we'll have to have one on the corner here as well. If we just rotate around the 3D cursor, we could do duplicate, rotate on the z-axis 45 degrees. Something like that. That's cool. And then I'm just going to duplicate these. We'll just line that up. I think something like that works nicely. Swap that back over to median point, and then that way we can space these out a little bit better. Nice. Let's just lift that up a little bit. It's pretty straightforward. And then we will bevel those later just to add a little bit of extra detail. With a lot of the trimming, we have kind of like these cube-like shapes that we can have go around everything. So for instance, let's add in another cube right now. And we're just going to say shift select this guy and then hit Control C and then copy rotation. And again, that's just that modifier that I added in earlier. And now all of a sudden we can just line this up. We're just going to line up that edge right there. We're just trying to create a nice little extra pop out trim that's happening on this. You can do that just with this cube. So now if we go ahead and just select this top face here. Now, this isn't a straight line, so we're going to have some issues here. But let's go ahead and just grab it by the z-axis and then move it up. We're just going to try to manually align it. And honestly, that kind of just worked. So, but now we can just scale that up if we wanted a little bit of a bigger trim. And we can duplicate this. So let's go ahead and duplicate this on the y-axis here. And for this cube, this should just line up with everything. So we don't actually have to reline up the top. It's just moving it over. I don't think we need it on the back side there, but that helps with the trim. And let's go ahead and start doing that to some different spots. So we want to add some trim, for instance, on, let's just do this corner next. Go ahead and add a cube in. Select that, Shift C, copy rotation. And yep, that just looks fine and dandy. So we'll just go ahead and duplicate this over to the other corner. And right now I call this stage just like blocking. You're just basically blocking out the layout of all of the different shapes that you would see inside of this render or this model, and slowly building it out so that way, you know, you've got everything. So let's go ahead and add one here. I'm going to cube, scale that down. Select this guy, Shift C, copy rotation, perfect. That gets us the 90-degree angle that we need. And this one might not line up at all. That's all good. I think we want to make that a little smaller, I suppose. I can get behind that. And then with this, let's go ahead and just add in an edge loop, roughly about the same size as our square that we currently have there, and then just extrude this face outwards this direction. And come a little bit short of it. Probably right there. And we're just going to kind of create that square shape again. And just grab that, and that way it kind of like centers. And that part can be a little bit tedious, but, you know, as long as you're kind of just following those edges, I think you should be fine. So let's just go ahead and then duplicate this. We're just going to make it upwards. Rotate that 90 degrees. I believe that side's already filled, so we should be good there. And that side's filled as well. So then we'll just grab this top piece now. Nice, I like that trim. And then, yeah, I mean, we could literally just select this guy, duplicate him over here, and then mirror him on the x-axis. And of course, since we made everything wonky, we're just going to have to fix that up a little bit like that. Now, my trick then is going to be taking this a little bit lower, extruding these both on the z-axis upwards a little bit. And then I believe there is a button called where you can bridge these together. The problem is that I'm live streaming, and when I'm live streaming, I use different shortcuts than so you can't press the, I believe it's F3 command in order to pull that up. Then just type for bridge. Otherwise, you just have to manually do it like what I just did. I'm just going to grab these two edges up here, and then let's go ahead and scale them down on the x-axis. So that way it doesn't feel like it's not correct. You don't want it to jet out. Bridge edge loops with loop tools enabled. Mouse right click. Is it over here as well? I usually just search for it. Let's just test this. Oh, bridge faces. That's cool. Yeah, usually I do that by searching for it. Thank you. Hell yeah, man. Okay. Let's select both of these things and then go into edit mode. I realize I actually would prefer this stuff here just to be a little bit sharper. Just my preference. And then let's take all of this. I'm just going to make that a little thicker. Same, even better is set it up as a quick favor, and after that you can press Q. Oh, yeah, like quick select. I don't use the quick select menu all that often. Mostly just because I normally, so back in the day they didn't have that button, and that was what I learned on. And I feel like I've just never started learning it. But yeah, I kind of just had the shortcuts memorized to the actual location. And then that bridge thing was kind of a newer feature, I feel like. I don't remember it being a thing before. Well, I guess everything's new to something. Okay, here's what I'm thinking. We could build these stairs. I can manually make them, which let's just do, because I think manual looks better in this particular instance. So I'm going to disable everything, and then I'm going to rotate these like ever so slightly, and then just duplicate. And we don't need that many stairs, but you know, you just want your like creaky stairs that are going upwards. Okay. So there you go. There's your stairs. And then the only other thing we really need to do is just make sure these are kind of lined up to a certain extent. We'll go ahead and add another cube in. And gosh, I don't know why I made these at an angle. I don't know why I decided to make them at an angle, but I did, and we're living with that, okay? I just wanted it to be even more chaotic than it already was. Why not make this as easy as it possibly could have been, right? Instead, we're just doing this in free view, right? Like, we're not even, like, going to a specific side. We're just like, hey, you know what? Screw it. We're just literally going to build the stairs at an angle. It gives it character, okay? I don't want to hear any complaints. Perfect. Hey Connor, I'm currently trying to test the Insta360 as a piggyback cam. The Insta footage tracks well, but I can't get the hero cam to line up with the track. Not sure what I'm doing wrong. I got a couple questions, I guess, for you then, Danny, but thanks for chatting. What frame rate did you film on your A cam, and what frame rate did you film your Insta360? Because you can sync your stuff, you know, with the first frame, but if you're noticing that a few frames down the line that it's no longer in sync, that it's probably has to do with frame rate differences. And Insta360, I believe, only renders out at, or it films at 24 frames per second. It films at 30 frames per second, and then like 60. I believe those are like the options that it allows for, and more than likely, oh, so 29.97 on both. Okay. Are you having a hard time syncing them at all? Or is it like, can you find any moment that syncs? The other thing that you could potentially do, and this is actually what we did in, because I used it in a film recently, was we use the audio, because Insta360 actually has an internal audio source on it, and then obviously with your A cam or whatever you have is probably going to have internal audio recording as well, and then just use DaVinci Resolve to sync via audio, and that works. I also, when I was testing things, just like visually clapped, and then you just line up the one frame of your 360 with the one frame from your A cam footage, and then that way you've got a visual representation. And then on set they had a clapper board thingy, and that would flicker one light when it first synced up. So there's a few different ways that you can sync it there, and if you know that the frame rate's the same on both, then you can incorporate that into your thing. And then I would say then render those out as VFX plates, so that way you have the exact frame range of your shots that you want once those are all lined up. And then you are only dealing with those frames going forward. You're not dealing with, offsetting something or any of that stuff. You had someone clap and my footage is in sync. The issue is more that I can't find the position of the hero cam in 3D space despite measuring. Ooh. Yeah, that could get a little rough, especially since in 3D stuff is not... So whenever you do camera tracking, it can get pretty decently complicated with sizing. If you do have measurements between objects, I would recommend once you do your camera track and you have your camera in the position that it's supposed to be at, then scale your environment by selecting everything and putting it onto a parent, and then just like an empty, and then scale it to the right size. Yeah, that can get frustrating and tricky, and it's pretty tedious. But once you do all of that, it lines up. Believe me, it does work. It's just it takes a little bit of manipulating. And also, don't forget to not use your 360 cam as your 3D camera inside of your 3D space. You should parent a different camera to it that has the appropriate proportions of your A cam footage. And then I believe there will probably be like a whatever inch offset your A cam is to your 360 camera, because obviously they're not going to be at the same film plane distance. Hopefully that's helpful. You had someone clap? Yeah, okay, gotcha. I got that message. Yeah, hopefully that's helpful. It can be a little complicated for sure, especially since you're dealing with two very different types of media sources. But as soon as you get like we had an AE that kind of lined up everything for us, so we didn't really have to, do the work of manually syncing the data. As far as like when things were happening. And then inside of 3D, we would just camera track it. And I was using Synthesize from Boris FX. Oh, I think the issue is that the scale in Blender is wrong. Yeah, no, totally. Blender scale is going to be different than every other scaling thing. But the other thing to note is that every time you camera track, your scaling is going to be different. 3D camera tracking is notorious for that, where your measurements are just going to be all completely off. But if you're doing Synthesize, you're probably setting your measurements there, correct? I would imagine you are. Gonna line that up, and then we're just gonna duplicate this upwards and create ourselves some railways, or rails. I don't know why I said railways. Yeah, Synthesize is great. If anyone else has done any of these 360 cameras, I'd be curious if there is another solution than Synthesize, because I wasn't able to get 360 footage to track properly in Blender. I wasn't able to get it to track properly in Nuke. I couldn't get it to track in anything. And it seemed like something that only Synthesize did itself, which is kind of strange. I'm sure PF Track or something like that would also work. But I wasn't able to get it in the other few softwares that I already owned. So we ended up getting a subscription to Synthesize. Which again is a great piece of software. It's just I'd like to avoid paying subscriptions if at all possible. Especially when you have other things that can do camera tracks, such as, you know, Nuke and Blender and all that. Just realized this is all kind of going off here. You haven't heard of setting your measurements in there before? Agreed, I got it yesterday, so I'm still very new to the program. Yeah, and Synthesize is very different than, like, using other tracking softwares. I mean, it's good. It's just different, right? So, like, there's a bit of a learning curve to it. At least there was for me. It's kind of a lot like Mocha in a certain extent, but very different at the same time. Obviously, I mean, it's made by the same people. There were certain things that I didn't quite understand why you had to do them in that specific order. And then also one of the frustrating things for me anyways was I would be doing a track, and then if I broke it by refining too many details and I got rid of all of my tracking markers, magically all of a sudden I would not be able to restart it. So in order for me to do that, I would have to import the plate all over again, just so that way I could hopefully not break it again. It was an interesting process of like constantly going back and forth. Okay, if we take this and then we apply all transforms, now if we go into here and we add in like a bevel, and you know what? I'm actually going to not apply all transforms. I'm going to apply specifically just the scale, because we don't want to apply the rotation. But now we can go ahead and add in some nice bevels to this wood here. And that's already going to make it look a lot better. Yeah, so if you do, Danny, if you set your settings inside of Synthesize to like where the ground is, then it'll at least orient everything correctly. You can do that for the ground pieces, and then I like to put reference objects inside of your scene as well, so like having cubes or planes be where surfaces are. Not necessarily setting by like distance between things, although you can do that in Synthesize. Just know that Blender, when it imports any FBX, compared to Maya or other 3D softwares, I believe the scale difference is 1 to 100. And I believe Blender is smaller. I think it's smaller than other softwares. It might be bigger. I can't remember. But it is like 1 to 100 scale difference. And it's a very strange thing that I don't actually know the reasoning behind why they do that. I'll go and try to learn some more. Mari, have a good day on your render. Oh, hey, thank you so much, Hasselhoff, for dropping by. Appreciate it, as always. I actually have Mari. I'm kind of wanting to get into it myself. All right, we're going to try to bring this ground up to match the stairs here. Blender is meter, Maya is cm, so when importing to Maya, it's huge. Ah, gotcha. Okay, are we back? I think we might be back. I actually don't know. One second. We're going to pause for a moment. I think we're back. I crashed it. Sorry, guys. I crashed it. We're going to open it back up. Recover autosave. Our weekly crashes. We're here, guys. So, I mean, unfortunately, we didn't get the bevel in here, but we can do that real quick. So we're just going to apply scale and then add in our nice little bevel that we wanted to have. Well, that's a huge difference. Did you say FBX? Is that the same as ABC? Yeah, well, really any importing. I said FBX. ABC is better. I'm going to save. Okay, we're saving. Gosh darn it, guys. Go back into sculpt mode here, and then we're going to set this sculpt view here to like a 3. I just basically want to get this overall ground. Like, I'm not doing any detailed sculpting. Just going to grab this overall ground and kind of just like level it out where the stairs are. Hasselhoff said he was leaving, so my stream was like, yeah, we're going to crash on you. So you said it's Maya's in centimeters and Blender's in meters. That is a massive difference. I did think it was like 100 to 1, but I didn't know if that was the exact size. I thought I saw somewhere online someone did that once. And I've just kind of like always imported things as that and then made manual adjustments after the fact. Okay, I don't mind this. Let's take all of this, okay, and we're just going to join it. And we're going to do the same for this other side. Join it. And then we're going to say apply scale, and then we're going to apply the scale. Select everything, and then just add a slight bit of bevel to it. Select everything, add a slight bit of bevel to it. Fancy. Okay. And then, you know, there's another thing we could technically do here that might be pretty nice. Go ahead and just add in, like, you know, a little nice edge loop here. Edge loop there. And if you just add in a little bit of bowing to these things, just adds a nice little extra detail to the stairs. Not by much, you know, just like that little extra pop, 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 pop down for the pieces of wood. That works really nicely for us. You can do the same thing with, you know, this. We go in here, just add in a little bit of cricketiness to this. Not a lot, just a little bit. And even this right here, I would say let's add the cursor to that. And then if we rotate on the 3D cursor, even just having it out a little bit. So that way it feels like this thing is falling over outwards. Just slightly. And then, yeah, go ahead and add in a few edge loops here. Kind of just justify this lean a little bit. Sweet. Okay. Now, once you have all of that done, I kind of just recommend grabbing these, and then we're just going to join them all together. We're just going to duplicate this and then rotate it, you know. Make sure we're doing median point here. Add that to this other side of the house. Probably about right here-ish. And then again, let's grab this whole land, and then we're just going to sculpt it around these stairs. honestly, we're probably fine. Let's just do that. I want to make sure this is not floating at all, so we'll just grab that section there, and voila. Save. Make sure to hit that save button. And make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button. That's all I'm saying, okay? We're almost at 2,000 subscribers. I'm going to select all of these. And let's just join them all together. I'm going to apply the scale on them. And then we're just going to add a bit of bevel to them. Just make them a little bit more interesting. It's pretty good. This whole trim here, let's go ahead and apply the scale to it. And again, select everything. Add just a bit of a bevel to it. Again, nothing crazy. I'm going to select this whole thing up here and just scale it up a little bit. Looks a little wonky, but I'm kind of like fine with it because, yeah. Let's create like a little bevel up here as well. Gonna extrude, scale it out, extrude. And then this whole section, let's just go ahead and select it and actually just make its own. So if we say L, I believe. Oh, wait, what? No. It's Y. Press Y, and then that way it makes its own object. And then these bottom faces here, let's do this. We're going to hide this for a second, and then we're going to select these bottom vertices here. Fill those, and let's just add a nice little bevel to it. You know, nothing crazy. Just to give it a nice little ring at the top. And then we can add in the fence posts up here. So, new cube. Select that. Control C. Copy rotation. I would say just like copy rotate. Well, we don't need to copy anything else really. And let's go ahead and just extrude this out. Or we don't even need to extrude it. We just need to grab it on the Z-axis. There we go. And this guy, I just might scale it down a little bit. I'm going to use an array. And then another array. That's pretty good. And then, let's see, we're going to just duplicate this guy. And let's see, let's delete everything. If you press Alt-S, you can scale down and just make it like a thinner, you know, pipe or whatever this is called. And now let's just use another array, and then we'll set that to 0. And I think that distance is good, and we're just going to have this go all the way to the other side. And now I'm just going to use another array. That's cool. Let's take this whole thing, though, and then we're just going to duplicate it. And then we're going to rotate it on its Z-axis 90 degrees. And we'll just line this up over here. Okay. And then next up, let's add in another little cube. Scale it down. Probably about that size is fine. Again, copy the rotation. And I'm going to just line this up with this guy here. We'll just grab this face and grab it on the x-axis and go all the way to the other side. A little smaller. And then we're just going to duplicate that on the z-axis and just kind of do it a little bit at the top, just a little bit of a pointy top to it. Okay, and then we're just going to add in another array. Again, we're just blocking this out first, and then we can add some more details afterwards. What the frick? Okay. Duplicate that. Rotate on the z-axis 90 degrees. There we go. Grab that on the x-axis and move that over. Okay, great. Now let's go ahead and add some points into this. Let's just grab the top of this guy and then extrude it upwards and then scale it down. And we kind of have to do the same thing over here. So just find this one plane here, extrude this upwards, scale it down. Perfect. And then with all of this, just go ahead and select it. Apply the scale, and then we're just going to add a slight bevel to it. Again, select everything, slight bevel. Alrighty, pretty straightforward actually. And there you go. Now you got yourself a little fence at the top, and then we can add some windows into this house as well. Let's see. Yeah, let's add some windows. Let's go up here and then add in a nice little cube. Copy the rotation again. I think roughly that's a good size for the window. A little bit bigger. And now if we do a Boolean and we select our newfound cube that we have here and just apply it, I'm going to do a Boolean, cube, apply. Now we have these cool looking windows. I mean, they're not really cool looking, but they're windows for sure. We can now just select these faces and fill them, and then press Y and then press P, and now they're their own object. We're going to do that for both sides here. So fill, Y, and then P, and then selection. And there you go. Now you've got yourself two different windows. I'm going to make these actually just one object here. Let's see. Oh, that gets thrown under layout as well for right now. And then we now need to create the outline of our window frame. And again, I just like to block things out with cubes. And then we can add details in later by adding more cubes. Makes everything super simple. So just getting all that. Let's line that up a little bit. And then getting, ooh. That's right, I just grabbed it instead of extruded. I probably should have extruded it. The heck is going on here, man? Oh, it's all like out of whack. There we go. It's me making like imperfect angles on everything is making this certainly a challenge. Just extrude that upwards now, and right about there. Just grab these two faces there, and then we'll just go ahead and we will use, where's that at? Bridge. There we go. And I think if you right click this and add that to quick selection like he was saying, when you press Q it just pops up on your menu here. I don't mind that. Okay, great. Only thing I might do is add in something like this. And do the same on the other side. So now if you select both these sides here, we're just going to add in, you know, a little bit of like a window trim. Do the same here for the bottom. And again, we could be more precise. I do think it's kind of funny that it's not. Oh, whoops. We're going to need to do one of these at a time. So let's grab this bottom piece. Great. And then now just take this whole thing and we're just going to duplicate it over here. So now we have two windows. We're probably going to want to duplicate all of this to the other side. So that's not that difficult. Let's just duplicate these windows here. Rotate them on the Z-axis by 90 degrees. And line them up with where we want them. I would probably say same height. I think that looks good to me. And then we'll just extrude that inwards. And then all we need to do now is then add another Boolean here. And select our new cube here. And just hit apply. Delete these guys. Now we've got this excess. And we're just going to make our windows again. So fill that, then press Y, and then P, and then selection. And then do the same over here. I'm fine with that just being one. Y, P, selection. That way it's just a plain. Join those together. And now we've got our double windows again. Probably just duplicate that. Rotate that on the Z-axis, 90 degrees. Yeah, it's good. And then duplicate that again. Now you got yourself some windows up there, and then we can shade those later. We're not going to do any of that today. Mostly just trying to get a majority of the modeling done. Let's see, let's go ahead and add in a circle window here. Certainly has its challenges with trying to do all of this on this weird rotation of stuff. I don't think I would recommend it. How big of a window are we going for here? Something like that. Something like that. Fill that. Extrude it inwards. And let's see. Yeah. Boolean this. And select our circle that we have. Apply that. I'm just going to grab this guy over here. Okay, that's weird that it didn't actually punch a hole, but, you know, well, it did, I guess. That's actually really strange. It probably has something to do with the way I created the cylinder, which, by the way, I didn't need to do a circle. I could have done a cylinder, and that would have totally worked just as good, if not probably better. Okay. Let's see. We take this whole thing here and then just duplicate it, probably be able to create our trim a little bit easier. Yeah. And let's do the same thing for the other side. So select that side. Just go ahead and select these vertices as well, duplicate them. And then extrude outwards. Extrude in scale. And then extrude inwards. And there you go. The other thing we can do also is select all of our vertices that go all the way around. Fill it. Press Y. P selection. That way we get ourselves a window again. Fill all of that. Y, P, selection. So now we've got both these windows. Let's go ahead and just join them together. And I'm going to select all of our windows and then just join all of them together because they're all going to be the same material later anyways. Cool. Now, we have this, I think we can do this with textures. So the plank pattern that we're going to have on the piece of wood here, I think we're going to do all of this through just planks, like a wooden plank texture. I don't think we actually need to do a physical plank texture for that. If you wanted to, you could, and just make those cubes going all the way up. But for us, we're just going to not do that. For now, though, I'm going to select this. And let's find the spot where we want our window. Something like there. I'm going to have to do something a little different than what I did last time. We're going to have to select all of the vertices on the outside of this. Or more specifically, just the four corners. And then go ahead and duplicate those and then fill it. And then with this guy, we're going to go to face selection mode, and we just want to select this face here. Let's grab it, scale it down slightly. This is all because I decided not to keep my original cube that was going to be using for punching things in the wall. So keep that in mind. You should just keep your objects and just hide them or something like that. But yeah, let's go ahead and grab this guy, and then we're going to extrude him inwards. Whatever distance is that you want your window to be in. And let's see, we're going to press Control L here, make this its own object. Do I need this window again? I need it one more time. So let's select this guy, Boolean, Boolean, Booyah, select the cube, apply it. Just move that out of the way. And now should work pretty good. I do have like this weird thing going on here, but I can delete the... I'll probably have to do quite a bit of cleanup. There's like a floor here. This shouldn't exist. Is this deleting something on the other side of the house that I should know about? Yes. Created this like weird thing here. This was all bad topology, so like we all knew this was going to happen eventually. Gotta fix this line. Yeah, it's a whole thing, man. Let's delete this whole thing here and say delete only edges and faces. And then now let's go ahead and try to recreate this triangle piece. What the heck is this? Wow, this is all over the place, guys. Just clean that up. Clean that up. Hide that all inside of our little window frame thing. And then we're going to fill all this. Voila. And that works. That is a bit of a mess. But anyways, now that we have that, let's go ahead and select the 4 outer edges of the vertices. Hit Fill, Y, P, Selection. Now you got yourself your own window. We're just going to join that all together. Now we've got this extra window here. Let's go ahead and create this window down there. It's the last window of this style. So yeah, there we go. That's all lined up. Select this guy. We're just going to add in a nice little Boolean. Select our cube, apply that. Now I could just delete that. Now we've got this face, delete only the faces. And it creates ourselves an inlet. I'm going to just duplicate this downwards here, just line this up roughly. Now, if we go ahead and just select the outer vertices of this guy. Hit Fill, and then let's just go ahead and make this its own object again. Hey, Anemo, welcome into the chat. And there you go, there you go. Now we got ourselves a nice little window. I think that works better like that. You're back. Welcome back. Oh, you know what? We had one more window here. I think it's a different size, though. Yeah, we're just going to make it a square window. Screw it. We're making it a square. Going to go ahead and apply the rotation to this guy. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to make it the same square window as that. And all I have to do is do the same Boolean thing. Let's grab that, move that over here to this other window, scale it down slightly or something. Same thing, Boolean. Boom, 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 apply, delete. Fantastic. Now we got ourselves some excess windows. Probably with these, we'll just duplicate the other window and then just scale it down. Let's see how well that works. Okay, and then grab that upwards. Well, welcome back, Anemo. It's been a bit of a couple weeks since I've streamed. We're just working on a render of the Beetlejuice house. Okay, great. Now, let's go ahead and just select these 4 vertices like so. Fill, Y, P, selection. Its own window again. And again, I'm just going to apply this to here. And we're going to do the same thing down here. So let's just go ahead and duplicate this. Scale that down a little bit. Put that over into the window area. Perfect. Grab all this again. We're just going to grab the 4 outer vertices. And join all that together. Fantastic. So that's starting to come together pretty nicely. Yeah, we still got this big window thing there that we can do. Let's see. If I scale that down a little bit. Okay, so then that goes in like that. This is kind of like a porch area. So if this then uses another Boolean, just go and delete that for right now. Yeah, that does go all the way through, which is pretty nice. I would say let's grab this here and just extrude it outwards a little bit. So that way it has some thickness to it. And it's like actually kind of a wall. And then we'll go ahead and add in our little thing as well. Which I might just... No, because those are all bridged edges. Let's use a regular cube. Select the house. Apply the rotation. And then I'll create a bit of a trimmed edge here as well. Like on the outside edge. Okay. And let's duplicate all of this over to the other side. Yeah. And we'll just join these together. And let's go ahead and select these faces here and these faces here and just bridge those faces. Okay. And now we just need one down the middle of this. So let's just go ahead and duplicate this. There you go. The sunroom area. Don't they fill up with like plants and stuff like that? Later anyways. Yeah, and then we need stairs over here, don't we? Let's just take our current stairs that we have, duplicate them, scale them down slightly. Line them up with this back exit, which we'll have to create a door for anyways. And from here, we just duplicate a bunch of these stairs downwards. Okay. And then, yeah, let's select this. I kind of want to... Okay, one second. Select all of these real quick. Just one or so vertices. And we're just going to hide those. And next, we're going to select the edges of the platform. And then we're going to say Alt-H. Oh, no, it makes... Whoa, whoops. Select it like that. Grab these, make those go all the way down. Try to line that up still. And then we need these stairs to continue all the way down. I mean, as lazy as I am, we still have to do it, guys. Okay, so just grab all of these. We'll grab these first 3 or 4. I think that totally works. Duplicate them and then move them down. Perfect. And then again, select the railing here, and we're just going to stretch that out. We're going to have to line everything up, though, individually. More than likely. Yep, because we already have problems. Like these go too far up. Okay. One side at a time, please. Just grab that, move those up. We're just going to line these up really quickly. If for the most part it is lined up, it's just, you know, you got to make some adjustments. That works for me. Now we just need to work on the other side. So let's see. You're just saying that's what it's called in a house? A sunroom? I don't know, man. I don't have a sunroom. You think I've got a sunroom? I don't know what these things are called. It's like when people say they have a den or a study, it's like, who has that extra room in their house where they just, like, oh, we just started coming up with names for our random other rooms. Like, yeah, we have a parlor. What do you do in the parlor? Nothing really, actually. In fact, we really don't go into it. We have this random... Oh, that's so funny. Just have that lined up a little more like that. Would you like to come to my lounge? I've got a sunroom. And then my favorite. It's like so like, oh, we have a conservatory. What's a conservatory? Like a museum? It's so extra. Let's go into sculpt mode here. Fix some of the ground as we're working on it. I'm going to set this back to 5. Just make sure we're saving, guys. And yeah, let's use the draw sharp tool. Create some of these like carpet creases that the miniature set would have. And again, this is all just under everything. It's hard. It's going to be hard to see specifically these creases, but we're going to be distributing points above it to create kind of like this gravel-like texture. A sunroom. Yeah, we have a sunroom. Instead of just like literally going outside where the sun is, we have a sunroom. Okay, I'm going to try to create a bit of a path here. So first make that decently sharp. Then we'll smooth it out. And then, let's see, smooth it out a little bit too much. Let's use this draw sharp to kind of like create an outline of the walkway here. This will be like more of a texture thing really than anything. Okay. And then we'll put some rocks over here and everything like that. It's a New England thing? Oh, I guess that makes sense. It's so cold over there. It's like, you know, you're not going to go outside in the sun. See, we got that great outdoors, dude. We got that great outdoors where we go outside and we don't freeze our ass off. That's a little strong. Just trying to create a little bit of terrain here. Just like kind of create a little bit of displacement on everything. Don't want it to feel too flat, you know? You just gotta feel a little organic, a little realistic. Sunrooms are great. Large windows to let it in. You guessed it. It's more sun for sure. Dude's giving a pitch over here on how what sunrooms are. Get your sunroom today. Line up right over here. Thanks, Ben. Line up. Get your sunroom. Do you ever feel like you wanted some sun in the winter when it's cold outside? Well, that's great. Get yourself a room with windows in it so the sun comes in. Revolutionary technology. I love it. I'm a fan. Sign me up. Okay, guys. Let's see. What are some other details that we can add to this right now with just the model? Suppose we want another window up there, don't we? Let's grab this guy, kind of center him up. Just extrude that inwards. We just need another window. Kind of like a little higher. Something like that. Sure. Says the guy who doesn't sit outside. No, I don't. I sit inside. I do think about that every now and then. I'm like, man, I really should go outside. I should go outside and experience. I should touch some grass, guys. Every now and then I think you should touch some grass. From my heart to your heart. To your mind. With all kindness. You should touch grass. It's got some mistakes on it, but I think I'm good with that. And we'll just join this to the rest of the coalition of windows. Sorry, you're a couple minutes behind for a bit. Oh, you were. Gotcha. I was just talking about grass, man. I'm sure my messages were way out of context by the time I sent them. Oh, that makes sense because yeah, I was working on the sunroom and then you like said that like literally 30 minutes later. That's kind of funny. Okay, so we've got that whole thing. I'm probably going to duplicate this guy. If we just duplicate it, rotate it on the Z-axis, 90 degrees. There you go. Line it up with the next house. Voila. Specifically this guy right there. There you go. So now you got some trimming. You're all caught up now. Nice. You're watching at like 2x speed or something like that. Which, by the way, if you guys are new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Also, Ben, who's chatting right now, cuts together some cut downs of the videos that we work on. And they go up onto the Patreon a week early. So if you guys want to check out like cut down tutorials of this and you don't want to watch the full 4, 5, 6 hour live stream of it, then go check out those videos that are cut down to a manageable size where it just walks you through every step on how to make these renders. Okay. I'm going to grab this also, though. Let's see. Let's grab this one again. Duplicate that. Rotate that on the Z-axis. 90 degrees. Voila. Just have to scale that down, I think. I don't even know why I'm trying to use the same trim effect. I can literally just do the same thing over again, and it will be more accurate to what I'm trying to do here. Let's see. I kind of want a trim effect up here, so let's go ahead and let's do this a little different than we've been doing it. Let's just add in some edge loops here. I'm going to do the same for the other side. For this side over here. And these aren't perfect, but that's okay. So we're just going to extrude them, scale them out. And that works pretty nicely, actually. Can't really do that over here. It's mostly because the window created some bad topology. I'm going to blame the window. Yeah, we're gonna have to do this correct over here. So let's add in another little cube. Not a plane, a cube. We're gonna select our house, copy the rotation, scale that down. And grab that on the z-axis. Move it all the way up. Of course, our house is at a slant, so you're going to have to make some adjustments. Okay. Perfect. Almost. Okay. And these vertices here, I think we need to follow that line a little bit. Perfect. Whoopsies. How did that happen? I don't know how that happened. Oh, I guess that does make sense. 1 second. So let's select this whole back edge here, and then I think I screwed up a little bit. Okay, that works fine. I'm okay with this. It's a little janky. But it's also super far away from the camera, so I'm less concerned about it, honestly. We'll say I kinda want... We have, like, down here, let's just extrude that downwards, and then extrude that over. There we go. Feel a little better about that. There's like another window that lives in this area right here. I don't really know where that's going. We have the front door on this side, so let's go ahead and add that in. So, cube, select the house, copy the rotation, scale it down, place it in the right area. Guys, we've got this down. Like, this is easy, alright. This is easy. Select the house, boolean. How many times have we done a single boolean on this? Apply that, delete the cube, booyah. Got ourselves a doorway. Now we just need a door to put in the doorway, which we can easily do. Fill, selection, P, selection, booyah, booyah, booyah. Now we have a door there. Now a door frame is all we need. So let's select our outer edge again. I think we could go ahead and extrude that. Let's grab that on the y-axis and just move that out. Extrude it and scale it. Scale it on the x-axis. Just make everything super even here. And then again, extrude that inwards. Now we just have our door here that we're really honestly not going to see in this render. But we're going to add a doorknob regardless, okay? I don't want any excuses. I always like to start out with like primitives like this because it's not a lot of topology. You know, you're just kind of roughing out like the design of something like so. And then, I mean, honestly, then is it Control 3? I can't remember. Subdivide surface. There you go. And there you go. Now we've got ourselves a nice little doorknob, which doesn't have to be that fancy. Such a basic doorknob too. Okay. Then there's a few rocks here. I think we have a rocks pack. Let's see, a mesh. We have bolts. I know that there is rocks. Let's see. Is it additional mesh? Extra objects. I think it's under extra objects. So mesh, and then, yeah, rock generator. I knew we had it, guys. So we're just going to go in here, and then we're just going to start adding some rocks. Just go ahead and just duplicate some of these. And every now and then, let's go ahead and add in a new rock, because then it'll generate everything randomly again. Oopsies. Oh, Shift D. I was like pressing Shift A, and I was wondering why it wasn't duplicating it. Dummy! Just make sure these aren't floating. This isn't Avatar, okay? We did that render already. Okay. Now let's grab a few of these, duplicate them over here, and we're just going to have a second set of rocks. Great. Okay, so now we have this nice little entrance to our house. All this atmosphere we're going to be doing inside of Comp. So I'm not doing that here inside of Blender, although potentially we could import just some, smoke into our environment. We could totally do that. I don't know. I guess we'll get down to it later when we make that decision. What am I missing here, guys? I think we just need a trim effect on the outside of this house. That looks pretty good. I like that. Yeah. I do feel like with a lot of these edges, it's really important to get that trim effect, because otherwise, I just really don't think it works quite as well. I think I'm fine with the bigger trim effect on the outside of that part of the house. But you definitely need this like little trim effect that's happening. Ignore this part of the house. Doesn't exist. Okay, guys? We're only seeing it from this angle. I do think that's funny. A lot of the times that happens in film, by the way. If you don't need a model from a specific direction, then you're not going to model it from that side. Although nowadays on big budget movies, they model everything from every direction. I'm talking indie, baby. That's pretty cool. This slightly bothers me. No more circular windows over there. We do have 2 there. Okay, that's fine. All right, guys. It's looking pretty good. Obviously, we have all the shading to do on this thing. But as far as the actual modeling goes, let's add in our little snake effect next. We'll add in a, oops, not a circle. We're going to add in a curve, like a Bezier curve. Okay. And then that's going to go like under the stairs over here. And let's see, let's just grab this. We're going to rotate it outwards, scale it up a little bit. Take this one. Now just extrude this. See, this is going to go up into this part of the house. Which we'll then just grab that side of it. It just basically needs to, needs to extrude over top. Okay, so, Yeah, it pretty much follows that pretty good. Let's go ahead and add in ourselves the geometry. So let's go to geometry here, and then we'll do depth. I'm just going to make this decently thick. And like this one over here, just Alt-S. If you Alt-S, you can scale up on like specific parts. So like this right here is probably going to be a lot bigger than right here. So we can slim that down a little bit. Make that a lot smaller over here. And we don't want any clippings, so we're going to make sure that this isn't going through our house or anything like that. This right here will probably scale it down slightly as well. I don't foresee it needing to be that big. Just have that go around the house for sure. I think it's pretty good. What do you guys think? Portions are a little different. I think it comes a little bit more that direction. Let's use that to hide this front door a little bit. Something like that. Save it. Okay. I think as far as modeling is concerned, that kind of ends the physical modeling. Before we end today, though, I want to do like some geometry node stuff. Let's see if we could just test out what this grass texture would feel or look like. We have all of this, of course, but let's see. Yeah. We obviously don't need all this back here, so I'm going to delete all the stuff we don't see. So let's go to camera view real quick. I'm going to select everything from our camera's perspective. And then we're just going to add a little extra dough. Like so. And then let's go to select, invert, and then we're just going to delete the vertices. Now, the reason why we don't need the vertices is we don't see them. You don't need stuff that you don't see. We actually don't even need this bottom part down here. So let's go back to wireframe again. We're just going to select this bottom ring. Let's delete all those vertices. Perfect. So now we basically just have the hillside. The reason why we're mostly doing that, by the way, is because we're about to use some geometry nodes to distribute points across planes. And having a lot of surface area is not good for what you're trying to do. So I'm trying to keep the amount of areas that we're spawning grass on very small. So that way I don't crash my computer. Because that's no fun. So, with that being said, we're going to keep this zoomed in here. Basically, we're just trying to create this grass effect right here. Let's go ahead and add in a geometry node, which we can do by going to our geometry nodes window. Let's see, where's that at? Boom. And then on our geometry nodes window with this guy selected, let's hit new. And this is going to create a new geometry node setup. Now, in order for us to do what we need to do is we basically need to distribute grass particles throughout the scene. And there's really easy ways of doing that. For instance, this is all going to happen after our multi-res, by the way. So our multi-res is basically doing the sculpting portion of the ground. And then after the multi-res happens with this. Now, if we wanted the grass to happen before the multi-res, we could do that. And then that way we can actually sculpt the multi-res stuff or sculpt the geometry node stuff. But in our particular case, we don't necessarily need that. But anyways, let's go ahead and then say, let's see, distribute. Let's do mesh to points. And then this is going to create points everywhere, right? And then we can either do mesh to points or we could do distribute points. Distribute points is on faces, and then we can feed the geometry nodes into this mesh here. And now this is going to basically distribute points everywhere on this entire thing, and it does it in a more random procedural way than if we were to try to use vertices or something like that to convert it. And then we can change the amount of density that we basically want on this. And this creates kind of like a nice, cool popcorn effect you can see right off the bat. Now, these are just points, but you could see what we're doing here. Because we could say, now search for instance. Let's see. Points to instance to points. Let's see. Oh, instance on points, I think is what we want. So we're going to plug the points into here. And now we can plug whatever we want into this instance. So if we had a specific model that we wanted to use, we could use that. For our testing purposes right now, let's just go ahead and use UV spheres. We can plug UV spheres directly into this instance, and it's automatically going to put UV spheres everywhere that there is a point, which they're massive. So we're probably going to have to change this radius size here to something a lot smaller. And as you can see, it adds in a crap ton of these points, which is pretty cool. I will say that we're going to want to have like our own kind of model effect that we're going to go for. So let's, let's just use guess mode here and then use miniature model grass and see what that looks like. We kind of want to go for that. That's a little too realistic. Modern day miniature grass looks really good. Going for kind of like that popcorn effect. Like that effect. So, okay, let's turn off this and let's go into a, whoa, all this extra crap. Let's move that all over to layout. Create a new collection here called prefab. And inside of prefab, I'm going to generate, I guess there's a couple ways we could do this. We could actually just use hair particles. I was going to use geometry nodes, but maybe let's go hair particles. Let's try that to see what that looks like. So I'm going to remove my geometry node real quick, and then we're going to go over into particles, new particles. And let's swap that to hair. And see, we have our modifiers. Everything's set. Oh, they're all going to be inverted. That makes sense. We're going to select everything here, and we're going to say mesh normals flip. Now all our hair particles will go upwards. Let's go back over to layout here. Change the number of this to be quite a bit larger. And then let's change the scale of these to be quite a bit smaller. Yeah, we could... Thinking, guys. We're going to want dirt and we're going to want grass. So we could use a scatter functionality with this by using a vertex paint. We could select this, and then I have botanic, so we could just apply botanic. Do I not have botanic set up on this computer? That's crazy. I'll have to get that installed. I thought I did have it. We could just use a typical hair system and then just increase. So if we go to children and then do interpolation, and then we add the visibility at the same that we're rendering, and then we go to kink, we can adjust this to be something like curly. This is going to be crazy at first, but we can adjust the amplitude of this to be a lot smaller. And this will give you kind of like that waviness of the grass. Frequency is totally fine. And let's do a little bit of clumping here. We'll just add a little bit of clumping to this. Not that much. That's crazy. Actually, negative clumping looks pretty cool. Think hair segments, if we update this, it'll make it a little bit higher res for the curvature, right? The spline, if we make that like an 8. I guess not. I thought that was what that did. I think that for right now, this is fine. I'm going to install Botanic, and then next week we'll go into adding in the Botanic grass and using a weight paint to create the path that we're able to walk on and things like that. We're going to do all of that next week. So if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button. As I said earlier, I try to do live streams, you know, once a week. This is going to be a part 1, part 2. So next week we're going to go in and start doing all of the shading and lighting on this, and then some compositing. And then obviously we'll be doing some grass as well. Let's real quick add in some depth of field to this guy. Go depth of field, set this to focus, and then I'm going to make this like a 1. Actually, I don't know what my scale is on my scene, so that's going to be somewhat problematic. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to take everything in this and scale it down. Let's see. If we know this plane is supposed to be 1 meter. That's a massive plane to be 1 meter, right? Let's delete that. Let's see. I think if we just duplicate this. Oh, no, don't duplicate. Extrude this. Let's extrude this. Yeah, if we grab this on the y-axis or the x-axis and we do 0.01, this is supposed to be 1 centimeter, guys. This right here, okay? Let's select our entire environment. I'm going to turn off our particle system for right now. And then let's add in a new empty, because everything is really off on the scale right now, but it's okay. We're going to fix all of that. I'm going to grab a new empty. I'm going to make it a cube. I'm going to make it bigger than everything else. Select everything in your entire scene except for our 1 centimeter notation. We don't want to select that. Then we're going to select our empty that we just added in, and then we're going to parent everything to it. Make sure to keep transform, okay? From here, we could scale everything down. So we're going to do that. I'm going to scale everything down. I'm going to find that 1 centimeter marker that we just added a little bit earlier. We're going to say selection to cursor, okay? Let's grab that, move it up. Where's our centimeter marker? Going to move this over to our scaling object that we have so that way we can actually see it. This is supposed to be 1 centimeter. How big would you say this house is? What would we say that's like? I have a ruler here somewhere. I don't know that I have a ruler. Ah, I do. How big would we say this house is? Like 7 inches? 7 inches wide? Is that how big it would be? 7 inches? Roughly like 15 centimeters? Are we thinking 15 centimeters on the house? So if it's 15 centimeters, this is 1 centimeter. Let's just duplicate this upwards. Let's delete that. Let's see. Extrude that on the x-axis. 0.15 is 15 centimeters. So that's 15 centimeters. So now if we just grab this whole thing and we scale it up, roughly, that's the correct scaling. Let's make sure this is not renderable. We don't need to render it. But yeah, so now if we go into camera view, you'll notice that the depth of field is way better or more accurate to what we're trying to do here. So let's now adjust this to be like a 1.2, oops, 1.5. Probably, yeah. And then that's going to be decently out of focus while we're focusing on kind of like this here. There we go. Now, next week, we're going to go ahead and add in all of our funness of, you know, like the textures and the lighting and all of that stuff. This week was mostly just modeling and sculpting this thing to get it to where we're at here today. But if you guys really liked the video, make sure to hit the like button. Comment below what you guys would like me to do renders in the future. I'm going to do this week. We're doing this. Next week, we're coming back and we're going to finish this render up. And then I will be out for 2 weeks because I'll be on vacation. But then I'll be back again, and we're going to start doing some more holiday renders. I think we're doing a Halloween one. I don't know if we're missing Halloween, like a stream for Halloween. But I might try to do something a little bit more Halloween related. So if you guys have a good suggestion of what that is, then let me know. Also, join the Discord. I have a link to the Discord in the description below. Share your renders. There's a lot of other great artists that are on there already sharing their stuff. I'm impressed daily by seeing what you guys are posting. So make sure you guys join that and all that fun jazz. But thank you guys so much for joining today. As you guys saw a little bit earlier, today was my first day having super chats. I got partnered on YouTube, so at least I got hit that first stage of the YouTube partnership program. So I'm really excited. Thank you guys so much for being on with me with this journey so far, as we've been streaming, trying to do this as much as we can. But hey, you guys have a good rest of your day. Stay creating, and I can't wait to finish this render up. I think it's gonna turn out really cool. Anyways, peace out, guys. You guys have a good one.